Bet you didn't expect me making a video like this, huh? Oh, what up book lovers? It is G-Swizz here, and I am here today to actually make a bookish related video. I'm here to talk about my September TBR. I just commit to making a monthly TBR. I was gonna say, okay, this is a TBR for whenever I get back into reading, but then I just said September TBR, so I guess I have to commit now. Like, we've got a partnership or something, and this is like a contract that I have to sign. I used to put a lot of pressure on myself when it came to booktubing and when it came to my TBR and whatnot, you know? Because some people like to stick to TBRs. Some of them stick to TBRs specifically for readathons and stuff. Hey, the Newts was in August, yet I didn't do them, but I did the owls. I made the effort to do the owls, not to do the Newts this year. Bruh. But hey, it's been one of those years, you know? And a lot of you guys know what I've been going through. But it's very funny because I haven't been motivated to read. And then as of recently, I started reading again. And I'm trying not to jinx it by making this TBR video because it's very funny. Every once in a while, when I start reading a book and I pick it up and announce to the world that I'm finally reading again, I instantly either put that book down or I finish that book, but I don't pick another one up. Bruh. My reading life is non-existent for the next few months after me breaking the cycle, and it's very annoying. So hopefully that does change. However, once in a while, I have been reading some manga online, which has been a very fun and interesting experience. It just shows how much my reading tastes have expanded. My parents are talking now so loud. I hate that the days that I am motivated to film are Saturdays when like everybody is here, and I'm not motivated to film on Fridays when nobody is here. Bruh. So I started reading books, and I have been reading some manga, and I will address technically both of them because, hey, both of them count as reading, you know? I'm just saying. Also, there are some more books that I really do want to get to, so hopefully I can transition into reading more of these books on my shelves that I haven't yet read because I have a huge TBR pile. I wouldn't say that my physical TBR pile is ever growing, as I don't remember the last time I actually bought a physical book. But that being said, my physical TBR is still massive. Without further ado, I'm just gonna go through this TBR. I was talking about the manga that I'm reading. I use this app called Manga Rock. I call it manga. I usually call it manga. I've had people in my comments say it's manga, and I'm just like, okay, but I just say manga, and they're like, no, it's manga. We're a fake fan. You guys can tell that I awkwardly say manga because I'm trying to adjust to saying manga so I don't get the hate mongers. Bruh. G-Swizz, you are already failing this video and losing subscribers. I am reading Overlord. That's right, I'm currently reading Overlord. I recently finished volumes 1 to 3, and I'm really enjoying this series. My boyfriend actually recommended this to me. Originally, he recommended the light novel, and I tried the light novel out, but because, again, I've been struggling to read, I found it very difficult to really invest in. I needed something different for my brain, and all of a sudden, we found the manga. I'm still trying to say manga right. Bruh. That sentence was such a contradiction. Eventually, the manga adaptation went to Manga Rock, which is the manga app I previously read Berserk on. If you guys don't know Berserk, check Berserk out. It's really good. I should probably put that on my TBR too if I get the chance. I need to start the Golden Age arc. I've watched the movies and I probably shouldn't have, but I'm gonna right that wrong and I'm gonna read the Golden Age arc. But yeah, I've been reading Overlord and I'm really enjoying it so far. I think the big reason why I haven't been mentioning manga on my channel is because they have a big cult following. So if I butcher a synopsis, I'm afraid that the fan base is gonna come after me. Overlord. Okay. It's pretty much like... oh, this is so bad. Okay. Let's try this. So I have the light novel here. Maybe this will help me. For 12 years, the virtual world of Yggdrasil, I'm pretty sure that that's how to pronounce it. You know what? I need a pronunciation glossary for my channel. Has served as a playground and battlefield for the skeletal overlord, Momonga, and his guild of fellow monsters. Ains all gown. Ains or Ains, however you pronounce it, keeps on saying his full name, and I'm just thinking to myself, how do you constantly keep on saying I'm Ains all gown perfectly? I mean, it's his name, but you know, I don't get it. I'm gushing about this to my viewers, and a lot of you guys do not have a clue as to what I'm talking about, but if anybody reads Overlord, or if anybody reads the manga or watches the anime adaptation, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if the anime adaptation is that accurate to the source material, but you know what I'm talking about. But the guild's glory days are over, and the game is shutting down permanently. tongue twister. When Momonga logs in one last time just to be there when the servers go dark, something happens, and then suddenly fantasy is reality. A rogue skeleton, you know what? I need a bloopers section for my channel because I make so many mistakes just pronouncing things or even reading out loud. I'm partially dyslexic. How am I even doing this right now? Okay, a rogue's gallery. Yes, I got gallery right. Of fanatically devoted NPCs is ready to obey his every order, but the world Momonga now inhabits is not the one he remembers. The game may be over, but the epic tale of Iron's gown is only beginning. This is the light novel. I think, you know what? I might just eventually pick up the light novels again, but I really do like reading the manga because there are so many different characters. Oh my goodness. I put this book upside down in its dust jacket. So when I was reading the light novel, I pretty much couldn't really get that invested into any of the characters at all, but now I can tell the characters apart. But also, I'm trying not to get too attached to the characters because Ainz will use them and doesn't care about their disposal. And that's all I'm really gonna say about his character, but that's kind of what really intrigues me. I really like following a protagonist who is so selfish to the point that he does everything for his gain and doesn't worry about consequences of others. What is that saying about myself? My reading tastes have really evolved. This is going on the complete opposite side of the spectrum from what I usually talk about on my channel, or even the books I read in general. I rarely read non-fiction, nor do I read self-help books. But one of my friends, shout out to you, Roman, he has a YouTube channel, by the way. I'm going to link that down in the description so you can check that out. He's actually one of my work colleagues. So we're having a conversation about relationships, and he really recommended this book to me as a very healthy resource in regards to learning more about relationships. Turns out, a couple of days later, he gave it to me. I thought that it was a book that I was borrowing, but turns out a week later, he's like, oh, by the way, I bought the book for you. I'm like, oh, you're the best. Thank you once again, Roman. I mean, I thanked you a billion times at work, but I'm gonna thank you again. It has been amazing, life-changing, and I am going to recommend it to my audience right now. I'm not finished it, that is why it's on my TBR. I'm currently reading Boundaries in Dating by Henry Cloud and John Townsend. This is a book that I would actually recommend anybody who is single and who is not yet dating. I would highly encourage you guys to actually pick this book up. I should have picked this book up before I started dating, because if I were to be completely honest, there's so much I wish I knew before I started dating, and this book addresses it in the best way possible. And no, I'm not gonna lie, this book is Christian. However, it's not preachy, and in all honesty, that is the thing I'm the most grateful for. That is a big reason why I've steered clear of a lot of Christian dating books, because a lot of them do deal with shame and purity culture, and for some people that is the way to go. And honestly, I'm not judging you if that's what you believe in. That is something I grew up with, and I'm not gonna lie, some of that culture actually really did damage me. And it's funny because even reading this book, I've truly discovered that that was the case as well. But also me dating now, I'm slowly starting to discover that as well, but I'm trying to also figure out what is a healthy relationship. This book pretty much covers that. In fact, the bookstore that I currently work at, they technically put this in the singles category under relationships. Every single time I would see it in the singles relationship section, I'd think, what? No, that book does not belong in singles. It doesn't belong in the marriage section, but I think it should belong in the general relationship section. Even though I still kind of agree with that, now that I'm reading it, I see why it's in the singles section, because I kind of think it's a very important book to read before you start dating, and I kind of wish I did. I'm 2 months in now. It's funny because I've made a lot of the mistakes that they don't encourage in this book already. It's so funny because when I started reading this book, I started to feel that guilt. I'm like, oh dang it, like I've already made these mistakes and stuff. I've already stuffed this up. But that's okay. I couldn't have known that stuff before. I'm so happy I'm woke to it. That's kind of a big reason why I've taken it upon myself to read this book and to kind of practice some of the good things out of this book through my dating life. And once again, I'm absolutely thankful that Roman considered recommending this book to me, because it's honestly kind of changing my life. It's breaking me down inside. So yeah, there's technically been some deconstruction, but through this process, I'm reconstructing and really expanding my mindset. Anyway, I usually talk about fiction books. Pretty sure majority of the rest of this list will be fiction books, so don't you worry. I'm pretty much halfway through this book already. I'm looking forward to continuing it and getting to know more about relationships, because hey, I'm very inexperienced, as you couldn't tell. And the other book that I'm reading, yes, I am reading a fictional book. I know everyone else is reading the finale to this trilogy, and I didn't go to the book launch. You know why? Because it's sold out. But it's understandably so, because we're talking about the Nevernight Chronicle here. Dark Dawn has just come out into the world. After 2 years of everyone's anticipation, I've only read Nevernight, and I read it like 2 years ago. Now I'm rereading it. First time I read the book, I was just okay with it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars because if I gave it like a 3, then everybody would judge me. Thought it was okay. I don't remember being fully engaged. Barely remember anything about it. But I picked it up as I was cleaning my room. Yes, that's another reason why I'm filming, because I actually cleaned my room. I got hooked. This is what I needed. It's satisfying, kind of my Game of Thrones withdrawals. I mean, it's nothing to do with Game of Thrones whatsoever, but it's a good high fantasy. And that's really funny because I've been struggling to get into high fantasy. In fact, I'm not too sure whether this video is gonna come before my intimidating TBR video, but I filmed that intimidating TBR video weeks before I filmed this video. I'm pretty sure I do mention that I've been struggling with high fantasy. This has changed the game for me, and I'm really happy about this, but I'm pretty sure it's because of J. Kristoff and the way that he writes high fantasy. He's just so good at writing. He's becoming one of my favorite authors. I absolutely am kind of obsessed with J. Kristoff's writing, and the funny thing is, I didn't realize he was one of my favorite authors until very recently, until I actually read Aurora Rising. I realized this has a very addictive quality to it, and I know that I've read his books previously and I've just enjoyed them and stuff, but Aurora Rising was very comforting for me to read because I remember that humor that he incorporates in his books. It's nostalgic to me. Nevernight is doing the exact same thing to me, and I'm pretty sure I've met him 2 or 3 times already, but I'm only just coming to the realization that he's one of my favorite authors. How am I not at Piera's or Kaz's level yet? I really don't know. I'm coming to this conclusion very late. It's 2019. You guys are really witnessing me go ham in gush mode right now. But I'm currently rereading Nevernight, and it's probably one of the best decisions I've made in a very long time. I hope to get through this pretty soon and potentially continue on with God's Grave and then potentially continue with Dark Dawn. I also appreciate the fact that the Nevernight audiobooks are on Scribd. Another book that I really do want to get to this month is a modern poetry collection. I actually started it a few months ago when I re-triggered my leg injury. I was enjoying it, but then all of a sudden a lot of things tended to occupy my life for some reason. But I kind of want to read it for poetic inspiration. And a big reason why is because I actually started writing poetry when I was really sad. That was a very good way to process my grief and to process my hurt. It was a very difficult time. In fact, the very first time in a long time, I started to feel a bit of guilt this week. Personal guilt. And it was very weird. I didn't know how to process that emotion. And then all of a sudden, I wrote like 10 poems down. And I felt so much better. And it's very funny because I tend to write poetry at very dark times. Or in fact, I should write poetry more in dark times because I don't do it enough. I don't write poetry as much as I should. But also, I'm not a great writer yet. Like, I'm literally just spitting out words. They're probably just journal entries at the moment. Practice makes perfect. So I need to get on that. I am not motivated to write poetry in times that I am happy or in times that I'm feeling love or joy or peace or patience. I am listing the fruits of the spirit right now. What the heck, G-Swizz? There is a love poetry collection I really do want to read from a famous modern poet known as Lang Leave. That is Love and Misadventure. I have read, I'm pretty sure, Sea of Strangers by Lang Leave, and I'm pretty sure the title Sea of Strangers and that modern poetry collection was inspired by a poem that was in here. I actually read it at one point. I don't necessarily remember where it was. Yeah, I got around 20 pages into this and I put it down because I was busy at the time. But I picked this book up straight after I read Love Her Wild by Atticus. I really loved that poetry collection. It was the first poetry collection that dedicated a lot of time to the highs of love. And I don't know about you, nor do I know if you guys have noticed or not, but the modern poetry collections that I pick up usually have to do with brokenness and hurt and how you are eventually able to find healing through that hurt. And those are the poetry collections that heal me. But I never usually go to poetry collections dedicated to love and the highs of love. I'm not too sure whether this will consistently deal with that, but it's in the title, Love and Misadventure. I kind of want to read a bit more love poetry to get some inspiration in those happy times, in those times that I am feeling love, or in those times that I'm feeling loved. Because I'm not gonna lie, I do have those happy moments, but I'm not creatively driven to write modern poetry in those moments, and so I kind of want to be inspired to. That being said, please don't pressure me into becoming an author tuber. I am only just starting. I would love to become an author tuber one day, but I need to write more, and I'm a procrastinator. Look, if I'm gonna still continually struggle with reading, I need to have a reread backup plan, and I figured that maybe rereading Children of Blood and Bone might just be a good idea. This book was without a doubt my favorite book of 2018. I remember remembered how much I loved this book, how much I was intensively engaged in it. Now I barely remember why. It has been a year and a half since I've read one of my favorite books of all time. A book that I used to praise on my channel, but I don't remember why. I do remember how much I did love the characters and how much I hated some of the characters, but my feelings towards them aren't as strong as they were when I first read it. And so I think that it's about time that I get back onto reading it. I'm pretty sure the next book comes out in December. I want to give myself enough time to reread it, you know? Yeah, like 3 or 4 months beforehand. But you know what? I just need to figure out a way to get out of this reading slump somehow, and I think that this might just be a good idea. Another adventure that I do kind of want to get into is Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kigawa. It was very funny when people were pitching this book when it first came out. People were like,
oh guys, it's an anime. It's like an anime. If you like anime, you'll like this book.
Yeah, so if I like Cory in the House, like, this is my thing, you know? Cory in the House. I'm your man. I didn't think too much about it when I was booktubing at the time that this book came out, but now that I watch anime, I'm just thinking,
what? It's an anime in book form.
No. What a lot of people were meant to say is, look, if you like a certain type of anime, you might just like this book. And to be very honest, I'm not too sure if I remember anime genre. People were saying that this would fall under if it was an anime, but once I read it, I might just find out. I'm pretty sure a lot of people made that comparison / the publishing company made that pitch to anime lovers because it might include some certain themes that animes do have. I mean, even the insanity that some anime has. I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm going into this book expecting JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Oh, you're approaching me. Instead of running away, you're coming right at me. I mean, I can't read the shit out of you without getting closer. Guys, you witnessed it. I made a JoJo reference on my channel. Where was I going with this? I want to read this book at some point of my life. This is a book that I'm very interested in reading, and I think I'm getting even more interested in reading it the longer I have it on my bookshelf. And sometimes interest fades from the books that I have on my bookshelves because I have them for so long. But I think because I actually have this book on my shelf at a time that I do watch anime, because I bought this book before I watched anime, and now that sometimes I'm kind of more interested in watching anime than reading books, maybe I will be more interested in reading this book and then be more interested in reading more books and not that interested in anime. No, but I keep watching anime. I have a full year Anime Lab subscription that I cannot let go to waste, you know? I'm gonna add a YA contemporary to this list. I'm gonna add Final Draft by Riley Redgate. I'm trying to get inspiration for writing. I don't know whether I'm going to enjoy a YA contemporary or not because my tastes are evolving, and I think that's a big reason why I'm in a reading slump, because I don't actually know what I'm interested in yet. What I'm still interested in and what I'm not, that's a big explanation why I keep on picking books up and then putting them down. That has definitely been a very bad symptom of what I've been going through. Woo! Guys, check it out. The bottom font color of this cover matches my nails. I need to try to make sure that that focuses in a bit more. That's so cool. I should probably do a bookstagram like that if I ever do a bookstagram again. As you can see, I do have some YA contemporary on my shelf. I just don't know whether I'm still interested in reading it. I want to see if I'm still interested in reading it because it's good to break away from the fantastical / dystopian reads / sci-fi reads that I read every once in a while. And for some reason, this seems the most intriguing to me because this has to do with writing, and it's also not too long. By any chance I get to reading some comic Saga Volume 3. Honestly, I kind of want it to happen. Everybody in the Saga fandom right now is suffering from the hiatus that the writers are taking. I am one of the few blessed people who doesn't have to go through that because I still have the entire series to read. I'm up to Volume 3. There's not really a rush, but that being said, I need more Saga in my life. Let's hope that this happens soon, G-Swizz. And the final thing that I'm going to include on this list, unless I remember something last minute, Fence by C.S. Pacat. A lot of people are obsessed with this. I want to know why. C.S. Pacat is an Australian author, and I haven't read a single thing from them. Even though I have to admit, I don't think I'm going to read the Captive Prince trilogy. Definitely something that I don't think I can stomach. I do want to give them a chance with other things because C.S. Pacat apparently is a very acclaimed author in this community, but also in Australia. She wrote a comic as well called Fence about a fencing school or a school program where they do fencing. I'm not gonna lie, the cover looks very fierce. He's ready to come at you and he's ready to stab that fencing fencing tool at you. Fencing sword. Imagine if we just called swords tools from now on. As Wonder Woman, I will stab you with my tool. Don't ask me how this was next to me. I have to keep it on me at all times in this neighborhood. I guess that's gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. I'm happy you made it through. I'm happy I made it through too. Now, let's read these suckers. If you want to purchase any of these books for yourself, I do have Book Depository purchase links down in the description, so you can check them out, you can purchase them, and you can help me out in doing so, you know? I also have social medias. I'm at G-Swizzelbooks on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/gswizzle. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.